Hi, hello, how's it everybody? Thank you very much for watching this video. We meet yet again. I'm Mama Sara Lerata. And if you have already subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you very much. I mean, one subscription a day goes a long way. If you have not done so, please do so by simply subscribing and liking the video. I'd really appreciate that. And I'm gonna jump straight to it. Now, the story continues. The baby has been admitted to the hospital, and I needed to head back home. And first night it was not so nice. I was crying the whole time. I mean, from our way back home, I was devastated. I wanted to be there with him, but unfortunately, I could not. And I go home, and in the morning, I go back to the hospital, and I did that for 2.5 months every day in the morning from Carltonville to Rahima Mosa. And the distance, it's quite it's quite a distance from Carltonville to Rahima Mosa. However, I did that, and I would not lie. In the 2.5 months, I was seeking for help, even in places which I was not supposed to, in places I've never been. When I heard about a certain prophet performing miracles, I would book the one-on-one. I would panic, and I would get in there, and I'll be told to pray. And at the time, I did not want anybody to tell me to pray. And honestly speaking, I didn't even know how to pray. And what is more painful with my situation is the fact that I don't have a mother, I don't have a big sister. My younger sister is young, and it was really difficult for the whole situation. So I did not really cope well. So I ended up seeking for help in places which I was not supposed to, and I did. When I heard about there's a sangoma somewhere at the corner, I would go, and I didn't get help. I did that for 2.5 months, and I was like, you know what, Mama Sala, anything to help your child, because now I was told that he was not even going to make it for 3 months, and I wanted my baby to leave. And whenever a person would say to me, "Girl, you need to pray," I would get really disappointed. Like, you telling me to pray? My child's gonna leave for 3 months, and you're telling me to pray. So it was really difficult. I did not take that very well. And I did not have a mom. With my friends, we were friends for, not for such things, but for other things. There are those type of friendships. We are friends. We go out, yes, we're friends, but you have a child who is brain damaged. I don't know how to be there for you. And I didn't speak much, and I isolated myself very much. And the father of my child, he was there. I was with him. We were staying together. He paid lobola for me, and it was nice. It was nice, but me and him, I think that one of the other reasons why we did not work out is the fact that we were not there. We were not there emotionally for one another. I didn't know how to be there for him emotionally. He did not know how to be there for me emotionally. As a matter of fact, throughout this whole thing, not once has he asked me, "How are you coping? How are you doing today?" And I won't even lie, I did not ask him as well. I've never asked him as well. We just continued, and the routine became same routine throughout. In the morning, I would go to the hospital, he'd go to work. After work, either he joins me at the hospital or he does not come. And the only thing that was a thing for us would be, do you have money for petrol? And that was it. How's the baby doing today if he did not go to the hospital? And the answer would be the same. There's not much changes. And, every time when I went to the hospital, seeing my baby there with a tube, they were feeding him through a tube. It was not a nice picture. And at the same time, he had oxygen on. He was not moving. He was not blinking. He wasn't doing anything. He was just there, sleeping, closing his eyes. I didn't even know that he would really see me. And the only thing that I got from all of that was after 2.5 months. So I did the same thing every day. I went to the hospital, went back home. On my way to the hospital, somebody would have told me about a certain sangoma somewhere. I would go and seek help, and I would pay money, obviously. And then somebody would tell me about this other prophet, and I'll go to them, pay money, and same thing over and over again. I even lost count. I don't know how many prophets and pastors and sangomas I've been to, with regards to the same issue, and I didn't get much of help. I didn't. I won't even lie. And hearing a person telling me to pray was very foreign, because I was hurt. I was devastated. I was all by myself. I needed to cope. And fast forward 2.5 months later, I go to the hospital, unprepared. When I get there, I'm told that, you know what, mommy, we are going to be discharging your child. We thought it's best that he rests, he dies at home, and comfortably, you know. And I was thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? Because the baby's not crying, he's not moving, he's being fed through a tube, he's on oxygen, meaning that he can't breathe properly, even on room oxygen. So how am I going to do this? I'm like, you know what? Touching dawa yako Jess, because when it's like this, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Anywho, I go to back to the hospital where he was born. They said when he gets there, he'll be discharged there. When I got there, the doctor didn't do much. He just said, I'm not going to keep the child here because he might catch some infections and stuff like that, and he'll begin to be sick. So take the baby with you at home. Can you imagine? I am holding a child who is not doing anything. He's not crying. He's not, I don't even know if he's hungry or not. I can't feed him through the tube, and they removed the tube. So in other words, I was told to see myself through. I don't have any elder around me. And then I called the father of my child, and he came to pick us up after work. I remember it was around 5. We get into a car. Now I started crying. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? At the time, my child does not have anything. He doesn't even have a vest on. So I asked him to take a few clothes. Then I changed him. And I kept asking myself, how am I going to do this? And on our way home, miraculously, the child started crying. I remember, because I even recorded when he was crying. I was thinking, even if this is a mistake, it was not meant to happen. My siblings, when I get home, they should, even the father of my child, somebody must believe me. I must have evidence. So I recorded him. He was crying. I was like, I'm going to feed him. I don't know. He was not able to suck, so I couldn't breastfeed. Even the bottles were not for him. So we went home. I prepared a formula for him. I gave it to him, and he was, like with the. That's how he was eating. That's how I was feeding him. I didn't know any other way to do it. And okay. And I did that, and after 2 weeks, we were back in hospital again. He was not well. He was not breathing properly. He was not breathing properly. So we went back to the hospital. This time, I stayed in hospital for a full 3 months. I slept there. I woke up in the hospital every day for full 3 months. And in the whole process, it's not nice. On my next video, I'll be sharing with you what was happening at the time in the full 3 months when I was in hospital with him. I left my firstborn at home. He was still very young. He was 4. I'm in hospital with another child who is just not getting better. Instead, he's getting worse. I left the father of my kids at home with a helper. I'm all by myself in the hospital, and like for full 3 months. Full 3 months. And I'm not joking. It was not nice. I'm going to be sharing my experience at the hospital in the 3 months that I was there with my child in the next video. Please do subscribe to the channel and like the video. We're talking about when I gave birth to my child who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, known as brain damage after birth, and my experience. Of course, if you have a child with a similar condition, we'd also love to hear your story.